everybody, it's Cody, Dixon RC here again. So I decided to build the BRX02 109 Series 3 chassis. Very easy to put together, realistically. I mean, it's not that hard. Probably the hardest thing to me was putting these the metal balls in the metal shocks. That was crazy. Couple things I do want to say before you build this thing. I suggest buying a 3mm nut driver. The one that comes in there is supposed to be for these wheels. They do not go on there well enough to be able to tighten these down, to tighten the bead lock down. That's the first thing I want to say. I mean, it probably will work. I don't know, but it doesn't feel good enough to me. So I use mine here. I've got these on the website if you need them. Other things, I think that's pretty much it, really. Pay attention to what it says and directions, like the way things are supposed to be going. There's a couple little spots that can be kind of confusing. I think I put this battery tray in wrong. I think it's supposed to fit towards the back, but I don't really think it's going to matter with the way the truck body fits on here anyway. Everything else pretty smooth. I didn't use hardly any of the tools. The tool to put the wheels on doesn't work either. You really need this little 7mm shallow end tool, the one that comes with all the boom wheels and stuff. It makes it a little bit easier to put the nut on there. The other one will work, but it's not. It doesn't. It's hard to do it by hand anyway. You need something to get some grip to it. That's pretty much it, really. Everything else is pretty much the same as the BRX01. The transmission, the transfer case, all that stuff's pretty much the same. I did not put any electronics in here yet because I really don't know what I'm going to do just yet. I have an idea, but then again, I don't have an idea. Of course, the 2-speed's in here. It's not hooked up until I put a receiver in. I'm probably going to put a Fusion Pro in here just because that thing is so good, and everything I've ever put it in, it's so nice and smooth. Servo, I don't know yet. I got a surprise coming for that. Hopefully, I do know what servo I'm going to put in there, but I got to wait to show you guys what it is. Wait just about a week or so, and I'll be able to show that. But that's pretty much it. I mean, it went together really smooth. It looks cool. The fit and the finish of this thing is ridiculous. I mean, compared to other stuff that you put together. I'm going to tell you one thing. Do as I say, not as I do. I did not use any thread locker in this. I suggest you do it as you do. I do it. I don't use it for a different reason than just not doing it. I want to see what comes loose, that kind of deal, to let you guys know. The BRX01, never put any thread locker on it. The only thing that ever come loose on it was the servo horn, which has nothing to do with thread locker. So kind of crazy that thing's, I've never nut and bolted that car except the wheels. The entire time I've owned it. I've had it for 4 years now, so keep that in mind. But do as I say, not as I do. Use thread locker. It comes with it. Why not use it? You don't have to use a bunch, just use a little bit because you're going metal to metal on a lot of this stuff, so just keep that in mind. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's pretty cool. This is my first leaf build, so I kind of had a little bit of a learning curve on how to do that and how to take the leaves apart. Pay attention to that when you take the leaves apart and put it together the way it says in the manual, which I just did that. I put everything together the way it says in the manual. I didn't go off the rails and do my own thing. The front ones and the back ones, the bottom part of the spring perch, you've got to flip it around the other way. I did not the first time. I was like, how's this going to work? Because I couldn't figure out how it was going to steer, that kind of deal. Another deal, part of the steering, it does have steering stops to kind of stop it from going too far angle-wise to rub the body or the leaf springs. I suggest trying to put those on before you put it on the car. Those axles, you can just do that and then kind of adjust it as you need it there. I'm going to adjust mine a little bit more. I want it to turn a little bit more, but not much. So we'll see, but that's pretty good there. So next up's the body. I don't really know how I'm going to do that. I am going to shoot a video of unboxing the body and showing all the pieces to it. I haven't done that yet. I don't know when I'll do that. I may do that later today, or later the day I'm filming this. I don't really know yet. But So I've got a time lapse of the entire build. There is some spots in between the build that will be normal video that I showed how to build the transmission transfer case. I'll try and edit that to where it's a little bit quicker than just, you know, because it's probably 10-15 minutes of just that anyway. So, you know, just that's it. All right, so I'll stop the time lapse. I want to show you the stuff that comes in here with tools. Of course, you get some 30 weight shock oil. I like Boom's. Boom shock oil has been really, really good. I have sold quite a bit. Oh, that's a nice little deal there to put it out. I've sold a bunch of Boom shock oil. Everybody loves it that gets it. So you get a little bit of thread locker. That's good. I wasn't really going to use thread locker in this build, but I think I'm going to use a little bit of it. And of course, you get silicone grease, and then you get black graphite grease. But the real cool thing is all the little tools they send. Now, I know some of them's not going to be usable because, you know, a lot of people don't use L-shaped Allen wrenches, that kind of deal, and that's fine. But, so it comes with this is for the metal rod ends, so you can put the stainless balls in. This is a remover, you know, that kind of deal. Actually, I think it'll work with the plastic ones also. But it comes with a 5 and a 5.5 millimeter wrench. I'm going to use this thing to death. I already have a 5 millimeter wrench that I use anyway. Not really 5.5. It's a 7 30 wrench. This is out of a old school Craftsman carburetor kit. When you rebuild carburetors, this is the kind of tools you use. So I've stole this from my dad. But this actually is a 5.5. It's close enough that it works. It'll tighten up the nuts, which is cool. I've been using that forever. But now I've got one of these. I also have a nut driver, which is great, but sometimes a nut driver, you just can't fit it because it's too long. But this right here, oh, I love that. Of course, you get L wrenches. I'm not going to use these. I don't care for those. But you do get I think this is a 5 and a 5.5 millimeter wrench as well. Let me double check. No, it's a 5.5 and a 7 mil. And this looks like this is the same as, yes, so it's even more shallow than the little tool that comes with all the Boom stuff. So that must mean that this fits into here. It does not fit in there very well. That's not, why does it do that? That's weird. Anyway. You get a 3 millimeter thumb screw for scale bolts. This is for what I would assume would be. It's not for those. That's weird. I don't really know what it's for, but you get this. I don't know what this is, and it's got a little set screw as well. I don't know what that goes to or what that's for. It doesn't look like it fits anything particularly on any of this. I don't know. But I wanted to show that. And then, of course, you get a bag of, you know, extra screws and such in here as well. You know, extra springs and rod ends and those are for the leaf springs. You get some rod ends and stuff like that. So, cool. Just wanted to show you that. Stop the time lapse. I'm going to try and do that throughout this build. Hang on. All right, I got to stop the time lapse again. Sorry. So most of these kits that you build, the bags for all the hardware, the gears, the bearings, whatever, is never really separated or, you know, done very well as far as having to find it easily. Well, Boom took care of that. So if you look here, it says chassis, shows you what you got to build. It says A, chassis. Well, if you look through the, you know, the screws and gears bag, there's an A bag. There's a B bag, C, D, E, F, G, H. All these bags are here. And each one of them, like C, says leaf springs. Dude, that is the coolest thing ever. And these bags are freaking awesome. I love the fact that they're not just some crappy Ziploc bag. It's kind of like a frosted bag. I love it so much. Listen, I know I talk a lot about Boom and Boom being great and all that, but it's a pretty cool little deal. It's really cool they do that they think about that for everybody else as well. It's pretty cool. I love it. So back to the building. so it's time to do the transmission. As you see, I got the chassis done. Very simple to go together. It's very good. I will say be careful with the screws and tightening. Some of them will strip, or they're easily strippable. That's just the way of the world as far as how those go, I guess. I don't know. But so this piece, you need the gearbox housing A and B, which that's A, that's B. It is put together with a screw already. One bolt is holding it together. The other bolts are in the bag, I'm sure. So we'll take that screw out there. So you'll need A, which is where the spur gear goes, B here. Then you find bag J. It's got all the stuff in it. Spur gear, move that screw out the way, all the bearings. Pay attention, it's got one bearing that's different than all the others. 6, that's not enough bearings. It says 7. We'll see. All right, so you've got all that. Double check it. All the other bearings already in that piece there. That's good. So that's the 7th bearing. Oh, the 2-speed unit. We need that. It is in a bag. It's in a white bag that's not marked. There's nothing on it, but you can tell what it is. They put this together for you, so you don't have to. You got to find bag E. All right, E, gearbox transfer case. This is all the screws you'll need, spacers. What I was talking about in the last video, you've got to pay attention to these spacers. They're such a pain. Make sure you got what you need. Hang on, I'll be right back. All right, so what I did, I went ahead and measured out my spacers, the 0.5 millimeter ones and then the 1/10 of a millimeter ones. I just wanted to make sure I had them correctly, just because of, you just don't ever know. So looks like most of this probably internal is going to be built with a 1.5 mil. There is a 2 mil as well, but most of this is going to be small. All right, so let me put this together here and I will show you what I'm talking about. Putting the 2.5 millimeter screws into the spur gear. This metal piece that holds the spur gear, it's like the spur gear mounts, what they call it. I'm trying to do this real quick. I'm going to show you a problem with the manual. All right, so it calls in the manual here for the middle part screw. It says a 2.5 by 8. If you even look at this, that's a 2.5. That is definitely not a 2.5. That is a 3. So pay attention to that whenever you're doing that. I mean, it might be a 2.5, but I don't think it is. That is not the same. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. So that says 2.5. That says 2. I thought that was 2.5 as well. There you go. My early morning brain here. So it is correct. The other's just actually a 2, not a 2.5. That's the difference there. So you take this, you take the 1/7 by 11 by 3 bearing, it goes on here, so it sticks there. It actually sits directly into the transmission case here. Spins perfectly. Stick that through there. That screw stays there. Take the one, can see it's got a thread through that. Take your 1/5 by 11. Stick it into it there. Make sure it all snaps together. Ooh, that's nice. Then the screw, then this 2.5 screw goes in here. It holds it. Oh, it came out. You jackleg. We're back. So screw that in there. All right, so now, so the brass end cap is pre-installed. It says it on there, so you're good there. All right, so now you take your pre-installed 2-speed, or pre-put together, pre-assembled 2-speed, excuse me, let me rephrase the way I said that. Takes a 5x11 bearing. It goes in here. There's a 20 tooth. All right, hang on. I'm going to. So here's where you got to watch what you're doing. So it's got a 20 tooth, which is right here. We're going to put this on here first. It goes all the way down. Good there. It spins kind of free. It'll work itself out. Take 2 1/2 mil spacers. Goes on here. All right. Then you take the little 12 tooth, which is the smaller one, because there's 2 20 tooth ones, and then there's a 12 tooth one and a 15 tooth one, and you can tell which one's the difference there. Goes on that. Then you get 3 1/10 millimeter ones. Such a strange way to do that. Goes on there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use their grease, only just because I want to use their grease for a change. I'm usually all about some Jim's grease, but we're going to use this. Mainly for the ease of how this comes out of this tube. It's so nice. All right, so that's there. That bearing come out. So we will. All right, so that's there. Cool. All right, so that's done there. Next up will be trying to do the, it doesn't really have a specific way this goes. Doesn't look like any way. So there's a bearing holder, which goes right here. It goes that way. It goes only one way. It's got a little set piece there, and it's made into this piece here. Boom. Good there. So 1/2 mil spacer goes on that. Then the 20 tooth gear, which is the other big one. Then your output shaft, which it just slips over that. It goes into the bearing here. Pretty simple there. And 2 bearings go over that. And that doesn't sit still very well, does it? It ain't going nowhere though. So then you take a. This is going to have to move a little bit to get this to fit down there. All right, so take a 1/2 mil spacer and then a 1/10 of a mil spacer. So I think I missed putting the, what doesn't it show? Oh, it does. It shows over here. Dadgummit, I missed it. So you'll take the, you got to put 1 E-clip. Well, this is going to be fun. These E-clips suck. They're not that bad, but they're not that great either. So let's do 1 here. We use the table to pop this one on. Done there. So you'll take this E-clip here, which is going to be very fun to put on this because this gap, there is hardly a gap here. So you got to watch this 2-speed part. This gap is very almost non-existent, but you can get it if you just look and see. So this sticks. I didn't mess up too bad. So this goes right here. It sticks right here where that brass bushing is. I don't know why that's there. I'm assuming that brass bushing there is there to make sure when it shifts it does okay. Alright, so then I missed that. So it's a 1/2 mil spacer, 1/10 spacer, and then a bearing. I missed that a second ago.
And then the last bearing goes over here on this end here. And then the next step is to actually put the top case on. So it's got that here. You need 4 2.5 by 10 bolts. Boom. And the screws go in, 2 of them go right here, and 2 of them go right here. Let me find the 2.5 by 10s. It shouldn't be hard to find. They're all pretty. All right, make sure it spins. And it does. Make sure it shifts, and it does shift. So we're good there. Next will be the transfer case. Shouldn't be too bad either. Less things happening with it. It does have a screw already holding it together. A 2 millimeter by 8. Got to get I out, which is a transfer case specific bag. It's just the gears. There's gears, bearings, and shafts. There's no screws in it, so that's good. Put all your bearings. I always try to line up my bearings where they need to be. All right, so we're going to take, this goes at the end because it screws in. So there's a specific one here that's got a little hexagon on it. We'll take the actual hexagon screw there, or gear, that, and then put the, I don't know, there's only one E-clip left. I'm assuming it's for this one, and it is. Okay. E-clip done. This takes one of the smaller bearings, and then it does not say, so all spacers that are left are just 1/2 mil spacers, so I'm assuming that's what goes in here. It says it calls for 5 of them. There's only 5 left, so I would assume that that's what these go to. I'm just kind of guessing there. So then another bearing, that other bearing goes here. Done there. All right, so then this one gets big bearing. That's there. Both of these two shafts look very similar, but they're not. So they're the same. One of them's a little bit longer than the other one, but it doesn't tell you that in here. So it does have a number on it, but you can't tell. Well, you kind of can tell over here, but that's the idea, is that one of the holes is bigger than the other, and also one of them is at the further end of the other. That's what you got to really look at to tell what goes where. So this says 1/2 mil spacer times 2, but that's not where that 2 of them doesn't go there. It's so weird. Such a weird thing. So I'm just going to do that there. That goes on that. Pin goes into here. I don't really know how the thing knows to stop. So both of these two gears are the same. So we're going to put, that goes one way, and that stops it there. Okay, so okay, I got it. Just weird the way they did this. That's why the spacer has to be there. That's what actually stops it from moving. Let me build this other one here real quick. That one goes this way. So the other bearing goes into here. So that goes there. Actually, one of these other spacers does go right there. And then there's a pin. This gear goes on that. There. Boom. That's it there. We're going to shove some grease in this thing here. Last little spacer, and then bearing, and then the faceplate goes on it. Only way it'll go on, there's only 2 spots for that to actually fit. Boom, done. All right, I'll put that together and we'll get back to work.
So thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time.